Tony Gappistone here, BraveMaker Film Festival, Year 5. We just finished watching the feature documentary by Kyra Knox, Bad Things Happen in Philadelphia. So let's welcome director Kyra Knox down to the platform here. Give it up for a visionary director, telling stories, elevating a need for reform. And I'm going to have Kyra introduce those who are with her who are going to join. But I'm going to introduce a person I'm proud to call friend and also a BraveMaker who's going to help facilitate this conversation. His name is Solomon Hughes. Welcome, Solomon Hughes. You might recognize him from the HBO Winning Time show. The HBO show Winning Time. Give it up for Solomon Hughes. There's a mic over there. Due to the strike, we cannot be talking about or promoting anything because it's against the rules of the SAG-AFTRA Guild. So we will not be talking about the show, but we will be talking about this amazing woman. Kyra, I'm going to give you your microphone here. Can you tell us who you have with us and who's going to come down?
Hi, everyone. So David King, he's going to be coming down right now. That last song that you heard, that was actually his song.
Woo, 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 woo. We do have microphones here, so we might need to hear some.
Right. Be ready. His mom, she's in the film, but I know she's not going to come down, but she's right there. So at least stand up so everyone can see you. And my husband, James Stewart, he was our chef, you know, for all of the projects. He's a licensed chef, and he also found all the archival footage for me, so thank you. He's here as well.
All right. Yes, chef. Yes, chef.
Look, take your moment, babe. Take your moment.
Go ahead, have a seat. I'm also going to invite Ed Lucas down. Ed was the cinematographer for Triggered, the short film that debuted before. So Ed has an eye, Ed has a camera, and Ed, you can also contribute to this conversation. I'm going to kick it to you, Solomon, to start. I'd love you to kick us off with some thoughts.
Sure, yeah. Wow. First and foremost, to both films, just wow. I feel like there's just so much going on in my mind right now. Wow. What do you even say? Kyra, we'll start with you. You know, as I'm watching this, I'm thinking, I feel like the response so often with so many of society's ills is, this is not my problem, right? Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about, man, just the perseverance, the willpower to like engage this very important conversation, this very important topic?
Oh man, this was a very hard film for me to do. This is a love letter to my city. I'm born and raised in Philly. I actually live in the trenches. I live right in Germantown. I grew up in West Oak Lane. So I'm also not someone that's going to the suburbs or anything like that. Oh God. I just lost my own cousin, Frankie, to gun violence a few months ago while we were finishing up things for this film. So not only have I seen it hit my own cousin and hit David and his mom, my husband, like, it also hit me. My cousin Frankie was only 37 years old when someone gunned him down. And it's like, I tell people all the time, like, I just want this to inspire change. And this was very hard because you're also, not only am I directing, but I'm producing, and you want to make sure that you're giving respect to each person's story. And I had to live with these stories over and over and over again. And then to have my own cousin, you know, get murdered, it's just been a lot on us. And, you know, Dave, I don't even think he knows this, but Dave inspires me because, you know, when I was interviewing him, in 1 year alone, he lost 5 friends, including his cousin. But yet you still see him smiling and happy and optimistic and everything like that. And it's like, he inspires me to keep going, you know? And I don't even know if I ever told you that.
Come on.
Yeah, so I don't even know if I answer your question. I just get emotional.
Definitely.
So.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Dave, I mean, I feel like there's this thing we have to acknowledge. I mean, like this is this issue that we have in America. One of the things I said earlier was like, the thing about this film that I'm really touched by is it's talking about two very unique American things. Basketball was invented in America, and the kind of gun violence that we experience here is so unique to the rest of the world. So Dave, like, what are when you think about just the absurdities of this world that you're growing up in? What are some of the things that you hope people take from this film and from your life experience?
Well, honestly, I just, like Kyra was saying, I just hope for a change in the world, because honestly, like, the youth, they're the next generation, and after us, they're going to be all the world's got left. So if nobody shows them right from wrong, then the world's going to be messed up, please, because when we're all gone, who's going to show them anything? And all they're going to know is gun violence kill. Gun violence kill is eye for an eye, and that's not what, I want for the next generation. So I'm trying to show them that, like, as somebody who's been through this, like, I can be like a beacon of light for the youth, or, show them that we can break these generational curses and it could be something better for them.
And he's only 21 years old. I just want to say he's only 21.
I wanna comment on that piece that as you were encouraging David when we were programming this. So, by the way, social media can be used for such good. I met Kyra on Twitter. I'm still on Twitter. She's still on Twitter.
I ain't let it go yet.
We're hanging out, and I saw the work that she was doing, and we got her on the podcast, the BraveMaker podcast, and she was telling us about her commercial work, and then she kind of said, "I have this documentary that's about to come out and start the film festival circuit." And I was like, "What it's about?" She said, "Gun violence in Philadelphia," and I happened to be just getting back from Philadelphia, and so she sent a screener, and I was like, oh my gosh, we've got to show this film. And then when we were putting together our program, one of our volunteers knew Tara Westwood, who did Triggered, and so we put these two together. But to be honest, people were like, oh my gosh, how many people are going to want to come to this program? This seems like a downer. This seems like so heavy and so dark. And it is.
It is.
But life is like this. It needs to be talked about. And one of my favorite things was, by the way, I tried to get Coach Gary to come out, like I was DMing him, and he said maybe at one time it was going to happen, but it didn't. But I love that you included joy. I love that you, like when David and Gary are at the table making fun of you, for one, you caught, like, because life isn't always dark, even though it is. There's a lot of darkness, but if you make time for the joy, we can find it. So I really wanted to applaud you for that and appreciated that for doing that. But real quick, Ed, as a cinematographer, you're capturing this intense scene between four people that is elevating this political conversation. But Tara often will say this is not a political conversation sometimes. It's a human conversation. So talk about anything you want to in regards to capturing this darkness, because there wasn't a lot of joy in that short. It didn't end in a joyful way.
No, I mean, I think it's really important to have these conversations, and they're not always comfortable conversations. Fortunately, ours is, made up. Yours is very real, and I applaud you guys. It was a very strong piece. It was amazing to watch. I mean, I think it's really important to kind of tackle these subjects, and through, storytelling's been done since people are sitting around campfires. So I feel like filming and visually telling stories and being able to kind of create these opportunities where people ask questions of themselves, which hopefully you do from the short film. You kind of sit there and kind of try and weigh up this awful thing that these people are doing, but then also like for the cause that needs to be addressed. We're not saying that this is what should happen. That's definitely not what we're saying. We're just trying to open a conversation and kind of start to open this dialogue between people.
We say that a lot around here. It's great. Yeah.
Right. So, I think it's just wonderful that your films were together. And I think I'm just going to propose, I hope you two work together very soon in the future. Because I think, what we see is you see the policymakers, and then you see the consequences. The decision you made to show that nightmarish footage of people, right? These are the consequences of policymakers. And, it's often said, policy always beats charity. And so my question to you is, with that in mind, that policy always beats charity, what is the future you envision for Philadelphia that will bring about like real change for young people?
I just want kids to be kids again. That's all I want. I know back in the day we had PAL centers. I was a Simon Dynamic stepper. I was in all of these different programs, and they're no longer around. So where are these kids gonna go? And I always tell people I didn't expect all of this. When I started this film, it was a passion project. I had no money. I had not 1 cent. And my friends who are also in the industry, they believed in what we were trying to do. And so we worked on the weekends trying to create this story, And if anyone gets anything from this, you saw at the end where I say donate to these smaller nonprofits, because I'm so tired of these big organizations getting all of this money, but they're not doing anything for our communities. But then you got the smaller organizations like Shoot Basketball's Not People and Mothers in Charge. Yeah, Philly, there's so many of these smaller organizations in Philly. There are boots on the ground doing the work every single day, but they're not getting the funding. So donate to these smaller organizations so they can keep grinding, because I have seen my cousin Gary go broke helping these kids, So that's all I want. I just want change, and I want kids to be able to be kids again. Instead of the kids going to the playground and then you're afraid that your kid might get shot or murdered. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, that's heartbreaking to me. And you got to think about it. I'm 39. When I was a young kid, we didn't have to deal with social media. We have to deal with all of these things. So not only are these kids having to look over their shoulders, now they also have to deal with the bullying on social media and all of that, and people popping these designer, labels, and then now these kids are committing suicide. And one of the things that Dave said to me today, he said that he was walking around, and he said it was so refreshing that he didn't have to look over his shoulder for once. He could just be at peace. And that's all I want for these kids, is just to be kids again, and just to not look over their shoulders and just be at peace. That's all I want.
Thank you.
Questions? Yeah, please applaud that. Questions from the audience. Raise your hand. If you say it loud, Mr. Solomon or I can repeat it. Yeah, go ahead. Repeating the question is, has Philadelphia seen bad things happen in Philadelphia?
Nah, that's the grand finale, John. For Philadelphia, we are doing a private big screening for my city. I felt as though that if I'm going to do a screening in Philly, I don't want anyone to have to pay for tickets. I want to have a therapist there just in case anything's triggering. And also, I want my city to be able to walk on the red carpet and feel like a celebrity. So we've been raising the money to give my city a proper screening. So it's going to be the grand finale.
How much money do you need for the screening?
A lot.
So could we raise some money for you to make this happen?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a budget? Do you know how much you need?
We'll talk.
Okay. All right. Well, let me just say this. We want to put money in filmmakers' pockets. In fact, Kyra was in the pitch contest today, and we're giving away tomorrow the grant winners. There's 3 grant winners that are going to get either $1,500, $1,000, or $500, which is not a lot, but it's a little bit of seed money. We want to do more of that. So filmmakers who are here today, they got next projects coming down the pike. Solomon's got a project that we're doing together. We want generous people to help tell these stories. If you are moved tonight in some way, I don't care if it's $2 or $2,000, it can make a difference. It really, really can. And I appreciate the challenge and you're provoking us to go, where are we putting our money, and are the right people getting it who are going to do stuff? I want to see that happen in Philadelphia. Let's talk more. Okay, other questions? I see a hand raised. Yeah. That's Keena Ferguson talking up there. Hi, Keena.
Hi. but these people are living this every day and it's playing in their head, right? And so that's the statement, but I guess the question would be, is there a mental health therapy component at all that any of these families, I know Mother's in Charge, but any of these boys, is there any of that that is ever made available to them that they know about, and did any of them talk about that at all?
I would
Wanna
say
repeat the question
that.
quick? Can you repeat the
yeah.
question?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So the question was, it was asking about the mental health support services that are potentially available to the young men.
There's not a lot of support for mental health. I know that my cousin Gary has been a support system for Dave, Khalil, Winter, and all them, but there's not a lot of support. I mean, Mothers in Charge, I'm grateful for them because when my cousin was murdered, they surrounded my family and helped us. But no, there's not. Everything costs money, right? And the problem is that we don't have the resources, we don't have the money to pay for a therapist to help us out. I mean, even for me, filming this, I didn't take, everyone says, Kyra, how was your mental health? How was your mental health? I didn't take care of myself. I still haven't been taking care of myself. I mean, there were times that I would be at my computer 2, 3 a.m. going through all these stories, and my husband is like, Kyra, you gotta eat. You gotta take yourself away from the computer. You know, because you gotta think, I'm interviewing, hearing these traumatic stories, and then I'm coming back and now I'm editing them, right, with my editor. And it was just like, I'm a cuss. It was a mind fuck for me. And there were times that I would just break down crying. And I realized that it's because, you know, I was taking all of this in. And what a lot of people don't know is that while I was finishing up this film, I also got furloughed from my job, right? So now I don't have access, you know, to all these resources. Now I'm stressed about money. And so I'm pulling from my savings to finish this film because I don't want to let David King down. I don't want to let his mother down. I don't want to let my crew down. I don't want to let nobody down, you know? So I'm still struggling and I still cry and I'm not taking care of myself and I don't have the access to mental health or to, you know, therapists or anything like that. So it's an everyday battle. And that's the reason why these organizations are important, because there are organizations in Philadelphia, they just need the funding to be able to give us those mental health resources that we desperately need.
Let that sink in.
Sorry if I got too heavy.
No,
I cry a lot, so
sink
it's a
in.
lot. It's a big topic for me.
We started the film festival, but let me just say this too. Thank you for coming out. You know, we are a small nonprofit film festival, and not a lot of film festivals, even the medium-sized ones, provide travel or hotels. We were not able to do that for our filmmakers. I said, I want you here, and I know I'm going to be in October in Philadelphia. I think I can get you a gig to pay for the flight if you can work with me in Philadelphia in October. So that's what we did. But filmmakers, to share their work, they're you know, lodging and traveling and doing all these things. We want to be an organization that can help provide mental health. We started the film festival with a mental health workshop the very first day, because you're on the front lines. You are on the front lines. And so thank you for being honest and transparent. And this is really the case for so many of us, so many people.
Yeah, I just wanted to say real quick as well, hats off to BraveMaker for being strong enough to program short films and also documentaries, you know, like this. I think it's really important. One of the feedbacks that we got from Triggered was that we've sent it out to a bunch of festivals, and a lot of them came back saying to us, we love the short film, people need to see this, we just can't program this, we don't know where to put it. If we put it in the middle of a block, then it sucks all the air out, and how do you follow it? If you put it at the end of the block, it's all anyone's going to talk about. But so, like, to make space for something like this, I think it's really important, and I think people like BraveMaker and yourselves talk about it, you know, encourage other people to program it, encourage people to put these pieces out there, because I think it's really important, because it starts conversation.
That's awesome. Thanks, then. All right, one more right there. Amy.
Hi, I'm Amy, and I have a question for you and for Triggered, but also just Kyra, Ed. I mean, Kyra, everybody involved with Triggered, with bad things happen in Philadelphia. It's been one of the most moving experiences getting to Texas, the politicians triggered especially affected me because the politicians in our state are making it easier, not harder, but easier for these to happen. My question for Ed is similar to what someone asked Kyra. Would you consider showing Triggered to people on Capitol Hill, different capitals, Washington? 'Cause I would like to get on board with that.
Yeah, totally. You know, we've been trying to do as many of the film circuits as we can, but also I know that Tara, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, she's the director, and she also plays the senator in the short film as well. That's Tara. She's been with this project for years. She started off actually performing it on stage, and then she loved it so much that she persuaded the writer to do a short film version, which is what you're seeing, and they're actually working on a feature version now, which I've had the pleasure of reading a draft of, and it's really phenomenal.
And share who the executive producer is.
I don't know if I'm allowed to yet.
It's on social media.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I think that Isaiah Whitlock's going to actually be a producer on it, which is amazing. So super excited to obviously he was a big part in the short film, and he believes very strongly, as I think a lot of people do, about gun violence. So yeah, I think there is ways to get this seen by people, and to open these dialogues, having these conversations. Obviously, I'm English, as you may be able to tell. We banned guns or handguns, specifically back in England years ago. I'm not saying that's what should happen in America. I don't think there's really an ability to be able to do that now, with what's out there. But I do think that there's basic steps that can be made, and just want to try and actually have this, as I keep saying, we want to have this conversation, because the thing that strikes me as the craziest thing is that until a couple of years ago they couldn't even study gun violence, they couldn't even have a conversation, they couldn't even go into this side. So although it was the big elephant in the room, nobody was even acknowledging it. So step by step, but hopefully we can show it to people, and hopefully inspire change.
Solomon, any final comments or thoughts?
Again, just thank you for coming out. Like Dave, as a young man, you coming out here, like this is you're doing God's work. So thank you so much for being a part of that. Yeah.
Give it up for our filmmakers. Triggered and Bad Things Happen in Philadelphia. They will be out in the hallway. Yes, whoop it up. We are so proud to have shown these films, and thank you for coming out. We want to celebrate you, and I'm just going to throw it out there again. I usually do a pitch for finding donors for BraveMaker, but I will say tonight that if you want to throw money, put it at these two organizations. We need to see these mothers in charge and Shoot Basketballs Not People, which is a freaking great name of an organization, get the funding so they can do the impact. And may you tonight be so stirred in your own life and conversations with each other to go, what can I do? What good am I doing? I watched this film, just by the way, and I go, I'm so inspired by Coach Gary, and I go, I sat the bench in 7th and 8th grade and never went back to basketball for good reasons. But I can do good with movies and with what we're doing. So every single one of us can do something good to impact young people, to impact all people, to make the world better, safer, braver. Go do it. Thanks, everybody. Brave Stories change the world, and you are the story. Good night. The next film screening will start here at 9:45, late night Brave Faves. And Film Church is here, 10 a.m. And then What I Learned filmmaking workshop is tomorrow at 10:15 at the Hub. Good night.